Hey, welcome to A Child Wife, Her Life, and the Love Test podcast. My name is Coach Renda Horn, and I have an amazing guest with me today. My awesome, sexy husband.
Richard Horn.
There you go, Richard Horn.
Yes.
Here we go.
Thank you for having me today.
You are welcome, baby.
All right. I just want to tell you I'm so proud of you
Well, thank
because
you.
this has been a journey and it's been something you have searched out, something I see you committed to and sharing your testimony. I think it's going to really change people's lives.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I mean, you know what? I appreciate you being so supportive. And this, it's great because we've been married for 26 years. 26 years. And it's actually been awesome.
Yes.
But it has not always been smooth. But we want to get into that. And I know what you guys are probably thinking. A child wife, her life, and a love test. What is all that about? Well, stay tuned because that's what we're going to get into today. All right. All right. Well, let me just start off by saying my name is Renda Horn. I go by Coach Renda Horn. I'm a wife and of this amazing husband for 26 years now. And we have an amazing family. We have 7 children and several grandchildren. But it didn't always start off it didn't start off so smooth. We had to kind of work at it. And the funny thing is, when we got together, I thought I was just had it all together and I was ready to be this wife and, and just jump right in and do what needed to be done. But it didn't work out like that. Didn't really go out like that. How was it for you, like us first getting together?
It was great. It's always been great to me. Right. And you have to know where I came from to know why I say it was great.
Go right ahead. Definitely share. This is going to be interesting, guys. Stay tuned.
At the age of 12, my mother and father got divorced. I was homeless. I slept in vacant buildings. I slept in vacant garages. Just was a terrible time. I went through the juvenile system 11 times. I went to prison 3 times. And when I got to that point where I was ready to make a change, I remember praying to God, God, I said, if you give me a wife and kids, I'll change my life. I'll really get focused, I'll never leave them. Here you come. And it just changed my world because it gave me something to focus on other than me. And I will always tell people, Christ saved my life, but he used y'all to really define it, to give me life. And I've always appreciated that. That's why I think it was an easy transition for me coming from hell to the palace.
All right.
To be able to experience not surviving, but learning to live. And
hey, that's awesome.
Yes.
Well, this is a little tidbit for me. When we first got together, I just was, had come out of a really bad situationship. But I wasn't even looking to be in another relationship. I really wasn't. I was really just looking to just kind of, live my life and just my relationship with God. I wanted my relationship with God much closer, much deeper, more intimate. And to be honest, you were totally, I feel like God kind of broadsided me with you in a wonderful way. However, when we, got together, when we did, and I realized because we had actually went to elementary school together. We had gone to elementary school. You were just a couple years older than me, but we'd gone to elementary school together. And I had a crush on you.
Yeah, I know.
I had a crush on you. And, but you didn't like me then because I was on a little playground and you were on a big playground.
Right.
Yeah. But at any rate, that didn't matter all them years later.
Right. But I never knew you had a crush on me.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even know you.
I mean, right, you did. I mean, you knew of me, but you didn't really know me. But
and you was younger, so
so
I was in the old dames.
Yeah. But you know what? Little did we know, God had a plan all these years later.
Right.
But what I want to do is kind of kind of give some context to the title,
Mm-hmm.
A Child Wife, Her Life and a Love Test. And what that is, it's actually going to be an upcoming book that will be released soon. But that book starts, and for me to even talk about being a wife,
Mm-hmm.
I have to go back to, what helped to shape me into who I am as a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to my mom, my grandmother, and my mom. And I learned later on in life that my mom was a child wife. And it was something that I had not been privy to. I just didn't know it. I thought, she had gotten married and, lived her life and that was, had kids and that was it. But little did I know, she was actually a child wife at about 12 years old, 12 and a half, 13 years old. And it was such a traumatic experience for her that she pretty much shut down and I just didn't know anything about it. And I don't think my siblings even knew about it, until we were older. And when I found out that my mom was initially a child wife, she was sent off to be married to an older, much, much, much older man. And, back then, um, although I was really shocked, it started to answer a lot of questions for me. It
Mm-hmm.
started to fill in the gaps for me with a lot of the decisions that she made
Mm-hmm.
in her life as a wife. And it made me to even begin to reflect on, wait a minute, that impacted her at that age and beyond, because she ended up getting married after that. But how what she said and what she experienced and what she kind of raised me in, so to speak, how that helped to shape who I was as a wife and how I needed to kind of reevaluate that
Mm-hmm.
because of some of let's just keep it, we don't keep it 100 here, we keep it 1,000, real
Mm-hmm.
transparent. um, some of the very bad decisions she made.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've talked about it. This is not a dump on your mom type thing or blame your parents for your life type thing. This is actually, we're just getting to the root of a lot of issues, especially issues, to be honest, in our community.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of time goes untalked about and unchecked and uncorrected.
Right.
And so what happens is that things just get passed down generation to generation to generation, and we never fix what's been broken.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to make sure we do that.
Right.
And so
So, what kind of examples did you have growing up of good marriages?
I didn't have any.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I really just didn't have any. I didn't have any examples of what or I'll put it like this. What I thought was a good marriage was just two people married, staying together in the same house.
Right.
That's what I thought a good marriage was.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a lot of that,
Right.
but the relationships were so tumultuous and broken and unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, when you live that life, live in that atmosphere, then you get the perception that this is what it's supposed to
To
be.
be.
This is
Right.
how it's supposed to be. And nothing could have been further, from the truth.
I think growing up, I had never seen a marriage that I saw was long lasting,
Hmm.
lovable. They were really like into each other and
Hmm.
really had each other's back. What I used to hear mostly was, "I'm just staying with them to raise the kids."
Wow, that's good. You know what? I have family members, family
Hmm.
members that would say that, oh, we gonna stay together for the kids.
Hmm.
And it was a time hearing that I thought, oh, that's noble.
Hmm.
Stay together for the kids.
Hmm.
But some situations they were together for the kids, but they showed the kids this what you I mean, I would say this. Some of my cousins were like, this is horrible.
Right.
It did more damage than good.
Right.
Would have been better off to just divorce or just fix it.
Right.
And but a lot of times when you in our parents' generations, That's just not a lot of times what they did.
Right.
It was a lot of damage done, and then they ultimately divorced after it was extensive damage, and
Right.
then that just caused more damage.
Right.
So for you, in like you said, you never saw really a good, healthy marriage.
Mhm.
How did you end up homeless though?
Uh, well, my mother and father, when they got divorced, me and my mom didn't have a relationship, like nurturing relationship. I think my mom was kind of like your mom. She had her first kid when she was 13. And when she got to be 21, I think she had just said, Forget your kids, forget the husband, forget everybody." I think
Mm-hmm.
she had gave up on just uh, that typical marriage scenario she was going through.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a good relationship with my dad, but he was inconsistent. He couldn't provide us like stable home. He drunk. He was a drinker. He was a womanizer, so he was out there with different women. We never had any place to stay, so I kind of drifted to the streets
Mm-hmm.
out of survival.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got into the streets, the older guys kind of took advantage of me, kind of uh, swayed me toward making bad decisions, and I became a criminal, and I started robbing people and breaking in houses and stealing cars and stealing out of grocery stores. And
You know what? Elaborate on that. This
hmm
is interesting. This is interesting because just hearing that, you think, oh my gosh, he was just this terrible person.
hmm
But a lot of times we don't really get to the root of how did you get here.
hmm
But give the interesting story, just real brief, of what you used to do to eat when it came to grocery stores.
I used to go into the grocery store and act like I had a list in my hand, like I was shopping, and I'd be going around. I'd grab a loaf of bread, and I'd grab a pack of lunch meat and some cheese. Might even put a little mustard on there. I'd be eating chips and cookies and eating apples and stuff like that. I would do that every day.
And just leave a
And oh,
basket.
I leave the basket right there on aisle 8.
So
So,
so that kind of made you, did that kind of make you feel like it wasn't so bad because you didn't take the food out of the store?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It didn't feel like stealing. It
Right.
felt more like surviving.
And you were, when you were, and you told us, shared it when you were a kid, you
hmm
were uh homeless,
hmm
but you were on the street alone,
Right.
not with parents or
Parents.
anybody, just by yourself.
Right, right. It was many nights. I mean, for years I slept in vacant buildings or garages or over at friends' house would sneak me into the basement. Just, what 13-year-olds shouldn't go through, or
Hmm.
shouldn't have to go through.
Hmm.
Uh,
So that's what led, of course, because you got to eat. So I mean, don't make it right.
hmm
Not condoning going to
hmm
grocery stores. Please don't do that.
hmm
Don't go into grocery stores and do that.
Right.
But I mean, but it's understandable being, or I can see that. I can see where that perception is. Well, I'm not stealing because I didn't take these things out of the
hmm
store, but at least I'm able to eat.
Right.
Okay,
hmm
okay, okay. And see, how was your view of relationships? How did that affect your relationships at that time?
Male to male, female, or
As far as like being interested, do you ever think, oh, when I get married, or did you think, I don't even want no parts of that?
I didn't change my perception about marriage or relationships until I met you.
Okay.
Uh,
So all that time,
I was terrible.
and you never thought about you even wanted to be married, is that right? Or did you just,
I didn't think I could be married. I
hmm,
didn't want to be with nobody past 2 months.
hmm,
No, I didn't. I never thought about uh, long term.
hmm,
Everything was short term.
hmm,
I never thought about taking care of nobody or considering them or serving them or
hmm,
making sure they was okay and providing for them. I didn't have that concept. It wasn't until I met you that I gave my life to Christ first. He
hmm,
started changing my perception. And then when I met you, I realized I had been with a whole lot of women in my
hmm.
life, but I'd never been with a woman. You was the only woman that I didn't want to live without.
Oh wow.
So it was it was now trust me,
Right,
it was a change
right.
because I was used to um, jumping from relationship to relationship or
Hmm.
being with this woman or being with that woman for just Friday night and
Hmm.
not really considering uh, long term.
Well, you know what? That's so interesting to me. That's very interesting to me because um, you say you were terrible, like relationship wise,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't give me that. Like, I mean, you were very attentive, which most of the times people are very attentive in the
When they
beginning,
first meet.
right? When they meant, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but um, you never gave me that love wasn't there. That I'll put it like this: you never gave me. You weren't interested in really loving and growing our relationship. You
Right.
just didn't give me that.
Well, I think when God introduced something to you and you see it feeding you,
Mm-hmm.
you start saying, man, I'm being fulfilled. What is
Mm-hmm.
it? What is it about this? And you start inquiring more. But then
Mm-hmm.
you start planting seeds that you can receive a harvest from. So
Mm-hmm.
when you start doing good to a person, they start doing good back to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's satisfying.
Oh, that's
And I
that.
think that's
Yeah,
what
that's an
happened with us.
exchange. Yeah.
We both came from terrible situations. We
Mm-hmm.
both came from, the situation you was in 7 years in Egypt and dealing with relationships that God told you not to deal with. Me coming out of prison,
Mm-hmm.
uh, never having a life, never having nothing stable.
Mm-hmm.
When I finally got that, oh man, it's like turned on the light. Like, oh man, I desire this.
Right.
I need this.
Right.
And the more that I got of it, the more I became comfortable, but not only comfortable. See, I said comfortable, not comfortable. But the more I became comfortable in realizing that I wanted to have a life. I
Mm-hmm.
got a quick story. When I first met you, I
Mm-hmm.
was standing in line at Popeyes,
Mm-hmm.
and I was with my friend, and I paid for my food. But when I seen you through the drive-through window, I told my friend, I said, get my order. He's like, there you go chasing them girls again. And I looked over to him and I said, no, I done found my wife. And I ran out the door. And from that day forward, we ain't never been separate.
Wow.
So God gives us what we desires and what we confess. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we don't know what's in that package.
Mm-hmm.
But thank God, thank God. Let's just say thank God.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to unpack. I know you guys are like, wait a minute, huh? But we're going to unpack all of this stuff. But we want to give you some context. We want to give you some history so you'll understand, how we got to where we are.
Right.
Okay? So, I want to go back,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I want to go back to us getting together.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I want you to tell me, first of all, okay, I'm just going to give a little history. I had just come out of a 7-year situationship that was really, it was a situation that the Lord told me in advance, don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I didn't listen. And it was very toxic, very unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally come out of that situation. And we'll get some context to that situation because that's a little interesting, just a little bit later on. But I come out of that situation, and I remember telling God, I come out this situation, I have children with me as well, and I come out and I'm like, you know what, God, if you don't send me anyone else, and it's just you and I and the girls, I'm fine with that. And I meant that. I wasn't trying to sound spiritually deep and, I meant that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? That's 7 years like to, tow my behind out the frame.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, okay, I'm good. And what I love about God, what I love so much about God is that me just saying, you know what, God, I'm going to commit my life to you. I'm going to give my life to you. And trying to even come out of that situation was difficult. It was hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was soul ties there. It was hard. And I had been trying to, do it myself. And then I said, I'm going to fast. I'm going to fast for a month. And then, I'll be good. Well, I go on that fast for that month. And I stuck to it. And I was faithful with it. And after that month was over, I ain't feel no different. I mean, I didn't feel any different.
Right.
It was like I knew there was a difference,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't feel the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And it was shortly after that, though,
Mm-hmm.
that this person says, I had a dream that you left me
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't come back.
Mm-hmm.
And that I tried to come back to you, like even come, I came to your door and you wouldn't open it. And I mean, you opened it and I could see someone sitting on your sofa, and you like can't come in. And they left, and then he said he came back, but that time I wouldn't even open the door.
Right.
And I laughed about that. That's just a dream. But he had that dream repetitively, if I'm not mistaken, a minimum of 2 to 3 times. And you know, I remember the third time or the second or third time he had that dream, woke me up at like 4 in the morning over the phone. And I'm like, you tripping, it's early in the morning, you tripping about a dream. But 1 week later, within a week, I was gone and never looked back. And it wasn't a thing where I was kind of talking to you, talking to him, kind of see. No, it was cut, before. And now moving forward, I tell God, if it's just you and I and the girls, I'm good, and that's it. And lo and behold, it was a very short period of time later. Here you come.
Right.
We get together, and
we got married in 2 weeks.
It was not 2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks.
It was not 2 weeks. It wasn't. It was 6.
6 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, I give you that.
But it still wasn't 2.
Okay.
But it was 6 weeks. We really did. We're not recommending people to just jump in and do that either. Okay, disclaimer.
Right.
But it worked out, thank God. But why did it work? Because we did the work.
Right.
It took work.
Right. Now, I'll say this, that one instrumental thing was we wrote a book, and it's called Don't Divorce Over Corned Beef and Cabbage. Go from a marital mess to a marriage that's blessed. And we were in the mess of a situation early on in our relationship. And I remember praying, we were praying together. You came and told me, you said, God is going to turn our mess into a message. And there's certain chapters in this book, I just want to touch on them because we only got a few minutes, that really is relevant to helping us make changes that I know will help other people.
Okay.
So I just want to ask you a couple of quick questions. What does it mean when they say it's restoring the lenses of love?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. Restoring the lenses of love. What that means is when Adam and Eve in the garden, think about it. When Adam, when God created Adam and then created Eve, and said, presented Eve to him, he looked at her and he said, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. He saw her as one. He said, because a part of me came, you were created from a part of me, we're one. And he didn't see them as separate. He saw them as one. And he said, because of this, a man shall, leave his parents and cleave to his wife. They're going to become one. They're one, right? But as soon as the fall happened, he was like, okay, God, God was like, well, why did you disobey me and eat from the fruit, eat fruit from the tree I told you not to eat from? It was that wife you gave me. He had spiritually detached from her. He had spiritually didn't see her anymore as one. And so what happens is the enemy's one of his number one strategies is to get married couples to see themselves separate and not together. Yeah. Because as soon as you can see it as me versus you, I and you instead of us, that's when he divides and conquers.
That's good. That's good. And another chapter that really resonates with me is it says how to get your like back.
You know what? I would like for you to elaborate on how to get your like back.
How to get your like back. I always tell people I love you. I love you.
I love you too.
But I like you.
Exactly.
You get on my nerves sometimes. You get on me all the time. But it's a difference in love and like. Love is a commandment. Like is an option.
That's good.
I get to make, I love, God says I must love you and everybody else. But I don't have to like you. And I think a lot of people take out of their relationships the aspect of like. Because when you add like to love, it's a lot easier to deal with trials and tribulations.
Absolutely.
It's a lot easier to deal with faults and things you don't like about a person when you like them.
Right.
It's also more enjoyable to be around somebody who you like.
Right.
So it just is. It makes a world of difference to love someone, but to like them.
Oh, yeah, that makes it. That's good. And that's good you say that because some people will say, well, I fell out of love. And it's like, sometimes it's not so much that they fell out of love as it is they stopped liking one another.
Right.
You
That's
know,
good.
it's that they don't like them because you can see people who will take care of each other. They'll continue to cohabitate together, take care of each other, but they don't spend time or quality time, or they don't look forward to being around one another because they don't like them. They
Exactly.
love them, but they don't like them. And so that's very interesting too. One quick mention before we end. I want to make sure just the cover of the book, Don't Divorce Over Corned Beef and Cabbage. Go from a marital mess to a marriage that's blessed. But some people got to be asking, well, what made you name it that? Well, because there's a chapter in the book that tells you we almost divorced over corned
Corned
beef and
beef and
cabbage.
cabbage.
True story. True story. And that's something we'll talk about later. But get the book. Get the book. You get the book. You get to
Yes.
read it all. You get to find out about it.
Mhm.
Very interesting. And it's true, we did. And of course, we know that the issues that the root of the issues were much deeper
Right.
than that corned beef and cabbage. But it's a comical, it's a humorous story, but it's true and it's very
Relatable.
it's very relatable and insightful. So
Yes.
hey guys, welcome to A Child Wife, Her Life, and the Love Test podcast. And I'm your host, Brenda Horn, for those who don't know me, and I go by Coach Brenda Horn. And I'm here today with some amazing guests. Uh, have my husband here. You all introduce yourselves. I'm going to pass you the mic. Would you introduce yourself?
Richard Horn Jr. I'm the dad.
Hello, I am the youngest child. My name is Rashard Parker.
I am Renda, and I'm just the middle.
And my name is Rachel Horn, and I'm the second youngest child.
All right, all right. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. I'm really excited. I am. I'm very excited for a number of reasons. For one, you guys, we family, we love each other. Um, I say that as a, you know, put that disclaimer out there. We do love each other. I don't know what everybody's gonna say, but we do love each other. But at any rate, one person we did not introduce, who we're gonna present to some, introduce to others, is our grand dog,
Shadow.
Shadow,
He's a 4-year-old, spunky, precocious child
who
who
thinks
is my son, whom I love, but he is spoiled by these two the most. They don't want to admit it. He's
who
spoiled.
thinks he's a real boy.
Yeah.
At any rate, today we want to talk about our family dynamic. A wife, uh, my background as a wife, and maybe your backgrounds as a wife, if any of you are wives. I guess we'll wait and see, huh? At any rate, let's get started with Brenda. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, Brenda.
Well, I am a content creator and I'm in fashion. I love my fashion. I'm also I'm very deep in, you know, in my faith, especially making content that way. I model some, so I have a lot of, my career in front of the camera, and that's just kind of what my personality is. I'm very forward, outgoing, outspoken. Um, I don't know, but I allow God to use me the way that He wants to use me in that
Okay.
way. So, and I'm a dog mom, so that's a whole different territory. Um, it's not easy for us all, but we make it work, and I do the best I can.
All right. So, make sure that you just give your name. So if anyone wants to look you
Renda
up.
Boyd, and all my socials are Renda Boyd too. So I'm an OG. Nobody really has that name. So beautiful. Or Renda Jr. as well, because I am, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yours truly, Brenda Sr.
Yeah.
All right. So let's ask Miss Rachel to speak.
Well, I'm Rachel Horn. I am a personal shopper and stylist. So I've been working in the fashion industry for like 8.5 years. I'm more quiet and reserved to myself when I'm not around them, I would say. Um, I like to travel and eat and sleep.
Okay, period.
And you call yourself a professional what? No, what you tell people, from your side of your social
Professional.
Stay
media.
at home.
Oh, and I'm a stay-at-home daughter.
All right, and that quiet part to yourself. All right,
Right.
we'll
Oh,
just
I also do content as well.
Yeah.
So
okay. All right, and next we have Miss.
Rashar. Hi, I am an interior designer first and real estate agent second, all in New York City. Um, I absolutely love interior design. I didn't, you know, get into it or just like it. It literally is who I am, is the blood that runs through my veins. I'm an amazing designer. I love to mix fashion, textiles, and kind of weird
And
abstract,
luxury.
yeah, luxury, weird abstract pieces and put them into rooms and spaces and invoke a feeling through a space, a room, um, project, or whatnot. I live in New York City. Um, I am married, newly married. Um, and yeah, that's me.
And your husband's name?
My husband's name is Austin Parker, so I am officially a Parker.
We are the
And
podcast.
Hey, Miss Parker.
yep.
All right, great, great. I wanted to leave it up to Rashard to introduce herself as the newlywed that she is, because she is going to be having an
Ceremony.
amazing wedding coming up. It's so nice to have our children here because everyone lives somewhere else. Everyone lives abroad. We have altogether 7 children, 6 girls and a son, and everyone lives all over the place, literally all over the world. And we have, of course, only 3 of our children are here, could be here for this, but we have a daughter in Sweden, we have a son in Michigan, we have a daughter in her husband in Texas, and these two, Renda and Rashard, both live in New York. Rachel is multi-state. She's Texas,
I always say she's
LA.
peripatetic.
LA,
Miami.
and Miami, Michigan, here, all over the place. So it's wonderful. We're just blessed to have them here, and we're enjoying that. But what we want to do, we want to get right into it. We want to get into, uh, you know, how does a marriage impact not only that couple, but what kind of impact does it make on the children? Because a lot of times when we think of marriage, we only think of the couple, we only think of the two. But when you think about the word of God, and you think about when Adam says, when Eve was created and presented to Adam, and he says, she is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. So he said, and the two become one. And then he immediately say, because of this,
Go out and
uh,
multiply.
that right, well, they were to be fruitful and multiply, but right after that he says, this a man will leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. So you think about it, he was saying we're gonna have children, because where was his mother and father? They were created, and so from the dust, and so they were the first human mother and father. And so that being said, that was saying we're going to make an impact. It's going to be an impact on your children. So I like to ask, starting with Rachel, what kind of impact did our marriage have in your life, even growing up, like what you saw or how you feel that helped you to shape your view of marriage?
I would say growing up, you guys' marriage was always pretty healthy for the most part. No marriage is going to be perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect in a marriage, but I think I've seen you guys both grow, and I've seen you guys both pour into each other. Even just the way you guys speak to each other. I've never heard you call mom out of her name. I've never heard you call him out of his name. I've never seen any, like, physical violence or anything like that. So for the most part, it's always been healthy. And I would say God centered, for the most part, for me. And then I guess I guess saying how it helped shape me or my view on marriage is kind of just like a partnership and making sure that you both are doing the work and you both are uplifting each other and both are, I guess what I would say, equally yoked. I think you guys were just a great example of like a couple who's equally yoked.
Okay, Rachel, have you ever had a moment that you experienced in our relationship that had a negative impact on you?
Um, I wouldn't say anything negative. I would say like more so like okay, I would learn from that and see what how I could apply that to myself or what will work for me in my future marriage or whatnot. But I just wouldn't say anything just like completely negative and I just was like, "Oh no, I won't do that."
That's good. Brenda?
I'll say that you guys did give me a positive outlook on marriage as a child, even though I used to try to fight that outlook because I was watching too many negative movies about marriage. And I was like, I can't, I'll have to fight him. But it's like, I didn't see my parents do that. And so I'm like, okay, honestly, I felt like they communicated well. And the man always says sorry first. So, wow.
Happy
Seeing
wife,
you do
happy
that,
life.
yeah.
Or
So seeing,
constantly.
yeah. So seeing my dad, seeing you always be like, I'll just be like, I apologize. Growing up, I used to be like, wow, that eases a lot of the issues.
Yeah, there wasn't
But
a lot of
there
pride.
wasn't that it wasn't a lot of pride for sure. It was, seeing that was definitely impactful, and also seeing the way that you valued quality time with your children. That was very impactful. Like it
Yeah.
made me want to create traditions. We had a tradition, almost like a new tradition, almost every year. It was like bowling every Tuesday, or every Wednesday we would go to McDonald's or Jeepers, or we would always go sledding as a family. Like it was always something that was traditional, and it was just like it made me want to value that time with my family. Um, so yeah, I definitely feel like there were so many positive instances. I used to be so upset as a kid at mom because I used to be like, she took all the good men. Like it was so bad. I used to be like, when I was a kid, I wanted to marry dad. I was like a little kid, and I was like, but that's not fair. Like, like why did she get to have a good husband? So it
What?
was. I
Like,
did.
girl.
Like I remember as a child.
What?
Like it actually is a thing. Some children do be like, I want to marry my dad. Because I was like, no, but then what if I don't find the right one when I'm older? That doesn't work. So whatever. Anyway,
Let me address
Go
the
ahead.
crowd. You have to know her personally.
no, but like
You to
I'm like
understand
5
her,
years
you
old
need
thinking
to know
this.
her personally.
But either way,
She's
yeah.
an amazing person.
I'm literally like a toddler. Sorry, I didn't mean to pinch you. But anyway, so any negative impact wise, I would have to say, I think it was just annoying when y'all would argue on the way from church. I'm like, we had a good. It would always start off as a good day, and then at the end, maybe they would have a disagreement about the sermon, or maybe getting some food after. And I'm like, we got to communicate better after coming from the house of God. But that's it. That was it. Yeah, for sure.
And you know what, Brenda, I'm glad you brought that up. I really am, because sometimes people think, oh, they look at your family and they look at things from the outside and they think, wow, I want my family to be like that family.
Mm-hmm.
When that's not the goal. The goal is to be like God. The
Mhm.
goal is to meet the standard of God
Mhm.
by help of God. And the thing is, someone else may be, to put our family dynamic into someone else's family, that may not work for that family.
Yeah.
It may drive each other crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I like that you said that, because there is no perfect family.
Mhm.
So now I just want to ask Rashard, and I purposely asked you, saved you for last, simply because you are married. Rachel and Renda are still single, but you're married. So how did our marriage uh impact your view of marriage, or help shape leading to marriage, and who you married?
Okay. As far as my parents' marriage as a whole, it's always been something that I looked up to. I always like to say that my mom, as far as marriage goes in general, like I literally remember conversations from when I was in high school of you telling me, okay, this is what happens. This is what a man does after this. When there's intercourse, or this is what happens here. And I remember understanding and knowing that I was going to listen. And as far as my dad, I like to say that I got my confidence from you and I got my self-worth from my father. Um, Even when I was in high school, I would always say, if you're not like my dad, I don't want you. If you're not like my dad, I don't want you. But I never really realized I meant that, or that that would happen for me. So I think like in life we say things and we don't even realize that, wow, I really walked right into that, because the person that I married, Austin, is just like my
Golly.
father. And he comes from a really healthy two-parent household also, which has helped to like shape him and his views and things like that. But I think just in general, like us being a family growing up, you know, you always had so much patience with. I watch you practice patience, you know, with dad, or I watch you practice. I even remember being young, and there was so much patience with me. It was always patient, you know, and I was a feisty kid and very, you know, like I know who I am and or get smart or you know whatever. But you always practice patience, and you guys never ever ever try to dim me or tell me calm down, or Rashard, you don't have to be so confident, or Rashard, you don't have to be so much. I am all of those things. So you guys really help to, I don't know, just you know help me to tame it and balance it. And with dad, it was always like it was patience among like I never ever I don't even remember him ever really getting angry with me or him ever being. I used to beg to go over my Auntie Stacy's house and later Auntie Stacy's house, and I would get there. He all 40 minutes all the way in Detroit, and I would scream and cry because I wouldn't want dad to leave me. And he would stop and take me 40 minutes all the way back home, and he would do it all the time. And you would think it would be like, girl, you're not gonna stay, but there was so much patience there for me that he practiced, and and those are the things that you remember. And as far as practicing those in my own relationship, I mean, I've only been married for 4 months. Or yeah, I've only been married for 4 months.
But also together for
But
many
we've
years.
been together for 7 years. We
Yeah.
started dating in high school. And I remember I had to teach Austin how to love and respect me. When we were younger, we were kids. So he was like, I'm gonna do stuff with her. And I remember him calling me like, my parents are going out of town. I said, okay, what does that mean? And he was like, oh, he wasn't used to that. He wasn't used to being turned down. But I had a father. You know what I mean? I had a father at home that was going to call and be like, where are you? And know something was wrong. Or I had a father to
Tell you what men wanted.
exactly, to understand those things. Or even one last thing that I want to bring up is when I was young, all the way growing up, my dad would always tell us, you know, if I tell you I love you every single day, would you believe me if I never showed you? And we would be like, well, no, you know, you have to be shown that love. So there's a lot of beauty in having expectations on how people should love you.
Right. That you teach people how to treat you. I love that because some people think, okay, well, dad and I both came from, broke, our families were broken. We came from broken backgrounds, and marriage was not, healthy marriage was not the norm for, our families. But we were able to, number one, allow God to lead us, allow God to teach us how to love one another. And once we were able to allow God to teach us, and He's still teaching us, because you're never, you're never not a student. You're always learning. But He taught us what we needed to do, first of all, and how to love Him, and allow God to love us and then one another. And then we can sow those seeds into our children. So it's a blessing to see that, and even the dad that you were, knowing what you had come through, how did that, what made you want to be the dad that you are? Not just the dad you are, but the husband you are, knowing that you had come from such a
opposing,
right, such a
background.
such a hard background, so to speak.
Well, I don't necessarily think that I wanted to be it. I think over time I grew into becoming. And I think I realized God put me in a position so that for one, for you to give you security, safety, somebody to grow with, somebody to love. But for the girls, I think it was more so that they have an image of a man, not a perfect man, not a man that don't have flaws, not a man that's doesn't make mistakes. Now I ain't saying be reckless and terrible, and I'm saying just a human. But at least they have something to identify with. So when they get in relationships, they can say, "Hey, my dad never did that. My dad was more consistent here. My dad was patient and loving and spent time and took care of my mom and paid bills and worked." So they'll have something, a guideline, a map. So I think that's one thing I think I'm proud of is that the fact that they do have that image to work with. And I'm even more proud of the fact that they have a mother who loves them, who can talk to them about relationships. And then when I see them, I see the fruits of all that coming together. You know, not that y'all are perfect or not that y'all don't make mistakes, but as y'all are maturing and growing up, y'all ain't all over the world. Y'all ain't in everybody's bed. Y'all ain't having babies everywhere. You know, that kind of stuff, I think, really helps. So, just what I would say to a man is don't try to be perfect, be present. Let God perfect you. Walk in your righteousness with Christ. Let Him, through the Holy Spirit, lead you and guide you. But be present.
Mhm.
Because not one time did any one of these kids say how much money I gave them, how many presents I bought them, or none of that. Everything that they said had something to do with time.
Mhm. And something that I did want to touch on is that you were always very consistent as well. So I think all of us kind of thrive off of consistency and kind of like, I guess, look for that in people because you always have been very, both of you have always been very consistent in our lives, in every area of our lives. There's always been like a straight path. There's never been like, okay, well, he was here at this time, but he left for a little bit, and then it was always just straight consistency through and through.
As far as consistency goes, touching on what Rachel just said, I always had a guideline or a map to kind of match, what I wanted. And in my current marriage now, or even I've been with Austin for 7 years, like I already said before, there was so much consistency in that. I've literally never saw a different Austin. And I'm married now, and I never ever. And now I moved in. We're moved in. I never saw a different Austin. And from what I've even noticed is it just gets better. Like it just gets better, or in terms of having him learn me and me learn him and say, well, this is what I like. This, I really want you to hear me this way. Or sometimes when I'm like this, I need you to tend to me this way. And it just grows. So I do have that map as far as my father to go back to and say, I want consistency and this is, what I expect or what I deserve. And I'm getting it.
Well, one thing we absolutely love Austin. We really, really do. I mean, we just Austin kind of helped to actually reshape us in a way because we were a lot more stringent when it came to anybody you guys may be interested in. And Austin came in and just kind of really won us over and not run us over with trickery, but run us over with, sincerity and just being who he is. And how would Austin say? You would know, of course, Austin's not here. However, what kind of impact have we made even in his life that helped him to even say, this is who I want to be with for the rest of my life?
I would definitely just say him seeing me come from a very stable household and seeing a lot of that confidence in what I want and what I expect coming from my parents and what I've always received from them. Coming from a loving household, but even in terms of like nurturing his relationship spiritually, it really helped because he got to see, you guys ministering, you guys going out, teaching the word of God, but coming home and still being in love and practicing that like in the same house. And just, I don't know, it also helped him to realize that He has to create a relationship with God, with Jesus for himself, that he has to know Jesus for himself, that it's not about religion or what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to do things, that he needed to have this for himself.
Right. It has to be a cultivated relationship for himself
Yeah.
first, and as well as for you two to
Be
mesh
one.
together.
Yes.
Exactly. That's great.
What advice would you give young ladies today when they're waiting to be found by their husbands?
Um, I would say number one, never lower your standards and keep them high, because sometimes men will try to diminish them or try to talk you out of them. And then if they see that you stand firm on your standards and what you see what you see in a man, what you want in a man, you know, they'll a lot of times try to just like knock that down, because a lot of times they'll get insecure and feel like I can't amount to that. So I'm going to try to, you know, minimize it, you know.
Or maybe even just test the water.
Test
To
the
just
water.
test you to see if, let's see, you say that you really love the Lord.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Yeah. And it's, yeah.
That and the reason why I say that too is because Dad and our first date was in church. And it was in church because Dad had asked me, you know, I want to take you and, you know, your daughter's out to dinner. And I said, you know, how that's nice and everything, but because I wasn't letting anybody around my babies, you know. So I was like, well, that's nice, but how about you come? We go to church. How about that? And you know, and this was before we had all of you guys, but you know, but I love the fact that that did not. I honestly thought that would run him away, but it didn't. And why not? Why didn't it?
It didn't run me away because I needed Christ. So it encouraged me. But I did want to get the response from Rachel on that.
I was going to add to that too. One more thing. I was going to say, make sure that I say that they know God, have a reverence for God too. Mm-hmm. Like if they don't have a reverence for God, they don't have any conviction. So so cheating is nothing to them, or not showing true, authentic love to you in many different ways is not something they have like a reverence for. They just don't care. They don't value it. So,
I would say while you're in your single season, just fully maximize that, because it's not always a bad thing. You have time to grow. You have time to pour into yourself and figure out what you want out of life, how you want to go, how you want to take your career. Everything isn't always about a man or always about a relationship. So, like it says in the Bible, he who findeth a wife finds a good thing. So don't just go out looking and searching. Just kind of let it come to you. But for the most part, just like in your single season, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your mental and doing what's best for you. And also, like everyone else said, just stand firm on your boundaries and your respect and what you see for yourself. And don't kind of let anybody change how you view things, whether they're doing it in their relationship or whatnot. Do what works for you.
The reason why I asked you about that is because you were saying that the first time no one had ever invited you to church. Right. So that's why I wanted to kind of elaborate on that, because sometimes women don't think about, they may say, you talking about a man, so that mean I got to go to church? But that's fine. Or he got to come to church. Yeah, why not invite him? That's okay. Or men, even men, invite her to church. You know, if you really want to see if someone is really sincere about God, you know, they may tell you, you can tell somebody anything, but their actions tell you everything. They may tell you some things, but their actions will tell you everything. Exactly. Everything. So, you know, it's okay. Invite them to church. You know, you want that you want to see that, you know,
how they don't want to go question it.
Why? And I say that too because some people get in relationships and they're like, I got in this relationship and I found out he an atheist. And it's like, you didn't know that?
Yeah, you know? I feel like you shouldn't ignore the red flags or the signs in the beginning, because people always show you who they are. And you just have to go with what you're going to tolerate and what you're not. Because I just don't understand like women who get married and say like, oh, I didn't know this or he didn't do that. They typically show those signs before you go too deep in.
Yeah, sure. But
So
they try to
just
ignore them
like
and feel like
the
they can change
delusion,
them. That's why. I
the
think.
delusion just has to wear off a little bit.
So thank you guys. This was so fun. This
Yeah.
was wonderful. And we want more of this though. So can you guys, make a commitment that you'll come back? We won't say when, but we definitely want to make sure you guys make a commitment to come back.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll
definitely.
stay.
You a keeper. He's a keeper. But we want to make sure that give your social media information really
I'm on
quickly.
Instagram at @thereal_rach with 2 H's, and then my business page is Your Fly Advisor, for anyone who needs any styling or personal shopping. And then my TikTok is the number 1 Real Rach with 2 H's, and also for YouTube as well.
I'm Renda Boyd on everything. So RendaBoyd. I'm very simple, and that's it.
I am Rashar Horn on everything as of right now. It could possibly change to Rashar Parker, but you spell my name. It's literally Richard without the D, Rashar. So Richar, Horn, Horne. Yeah.
And I'm on social media, all platforms, Richard Horn Jr. Jr.
All right. You heard it. Go check them out. Follow. Okay. We are not responsible for any content that they So disclaimer.
Everyone has their own path.
Everyone has their own path. All right. Thank you.